Yep, go.
Hello. So basically, the team is the entire class. So we're working on the an honours project for.
Cusuco.
That's the word. Cusuco.
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 I can't even say. You know what I mean.
Wonder.
So this is the mind map. So So I'm a BA student. So me, Emily, and Roj have done the mind map, which includes the sound assets, culture locations, mechanics, environment, which has been completed. The next one, please. So this is the Gantt chart. So basically, it's just showing like the weekly progress. So I did this, but instead of like a daily one, I chose to do like a weekly one. So it's not like overpowering and stuff like that. And I like blocking out, to show like the weeks that have gone by. And obviously it shows all the tasks, the main tasks that we need to do during the project. Yes. So who's...
Oh, those are my mood boards.
That was you.
Okay,
Yeah.
do you need to get up?
So I did a mood board on environments because, well, this is supposed to be set in Honduras, Cusuco. So I had to make sure that all the like the photos and references are of location, basically. Yeah, so it's got like loads of foliage, rainforest, like rivers, trees, the actual general location, like how large it is, like on the map. Got a base camp, like where people are setting up camp in the forests. Yeah. And like showed like inputs of interest and deforestation parts, like to highlight the importance of like the environment and preserving nature. Yeah. And the same thing again, just like reiterating the same points, just with more like variety. Yeah, that's all.
Oh. Hello again. So basically my specialism for projects I've chosen environmental art. So I basically started looking at texturing the landscape material, procedural foliage, just looking at the very basics because obviously I'm new to this. So obviously how to like put in the different types of foliage and using the foliage tool. So this is kind of like the progression of the procedural foliage in Unreal. Yeah, it took me ages to do this because I just couldn't get the settings working straight away, but I'm pretty proud of how it kind of worked out at the end. So the next one to do with environmental art was water. So I needed to look at the introduction to water body and rivers, so just how to implement them into Unreal. So these images here is water and caustics, and then I used like the previous foliage tools to kind of bring that together. So the waterfalls, obviously, like in the jungle, it's going to be in the project using the water, so kind of trying to get to grips with that. Yeah, just changing like the colours or anything like that of the water. So this one was all about like advancing front, because what I did before was just to paint basic materials onto a landscape, which took long enough, but this was adding like the landscape material, so I had to like create a material and implement that. Then had a look at nanites and how to implement that on an object. So I found a piece of software called Treeit. So you can make your own trees. Well, basically it gives you like a basic model, and then you can change it. So
Is that a fully free plugin, is it?
it was £3.50.
Well, that's pretty good.
So yeah, some of them were really expensive. So I found that, and then you can export it into FBX files. So I thought that was pretty good, to be honest. It's
That's
like
very
they
good.
give you loads of examples, and then
Quite
you
a
just
deal.
change it. Yeah, I think, is that the last one? Yeah, that's all I've used so far.
Right, so I've been specialising in 3D modelling and just trying to improve what I know already. So I first started off with quite basic models, so I started off with the radio. I later go on to improving that. So I've got the step-by-step to that, and then I worked on the microscope. So the microscope is a little bit more complicated, but I started off very simple again, and then I just built it up, and then I eventually textured it. Both of them are textured through Mudbox, which was a little bit interesting when it came to the microscope, but I will hopefully go back to that and then retexture it through Photoshop, because it was a pain and it didn't come out the way I wanted it to. But the radio came out really well, so I'm happy with that.
I'm sorry.
So then I go into learning and teaching myself how to do normal maps, because the next one I wanted to do was just a regular chalkboard, but I didn't want to leave it as just looking really flat. So I decided to put a normal map on it, and it's come out actually quite good. So, and then using that, I kind of wanted to improve the radio, so I went back and did a normal map for the radio, and it has come out looking pretty good in my opinion. So yeah, I put them all into Unreal so I can test them to see if they actually transfer successfully. So I'm glad that they transferred successfully. Next I go into looking at fabric and cloth. I did already know a little bit about cloth, but I wanted to go back into it and revisit it to try and improve what I've done. I started off just doing like really basic, just experimenting with the different presets, because a lot of them have different outcomes. So I did a lot of experimenting with that just to see which of the cloths would be best for doing the tents, which I go on to do. So I started off really basic. I did just a small shelter, and then I go into a little bit more complicated, and I also taught myself how to do rope as well, so that's not been textured, but we'll texture it soon.
Cool.
Okay. And then I go on to doing some model sheets, which I then use to do background characters, because I wanted to just really get a lot more complicated, a lot more complex. So, and then I have started doing one of the background characters. He doesn't have a mouth, but I have done more work on it. So he now has a very basic outline, which I will obviously refine and add a lot more detail and clothes. So, but the model sheets, I looked at the references from the Honduras presentation, so I saw their clothing and saw what they looked like, and I just based my model sheets off them. So that should be everything.
These are some environmental concepts I have done. I initially did one on paper before I realised it didn't work so well. So I decided to trace over some resource images of the forest, and I decided to give it like stylistic, flat colours. So it is not without its detail, as you can see right here. Next page. As shown here, I've put shadows of trees in the distance, and I've also given them like green and grey skyboxes to match with the mood. So that was fun. I also used different brush techniques for the bushes and the moss on the logs. And that's about it.
Okay.
So you might have to take off those.
Ah, right, okay.
Sarah's there, so I don't know if
Yeah,
can she put her mic on?
the mic's on mute there.
Yeah, she's on mute.
I don't think she's got a mic, I don't think.
Let me just ask her.
Oh, it's just come off.
Sarah, have you got a mic there? Can we hear you?
The answer to that, isn't it?
I can't hear her.
I can't hear her.
Okay. Can someone talk? If you can share the screen with her there a minute. Do you know how to do that? Just go to Teams and share it. I'll do it.
Yeah, she's done it.
Okay. Let me just change the speakers a minute. On the wrong speaker here a minute. Hang on, let's go in this there. Just change it over there. Can you say something, Sarah? It's not that one. Keep talking. Not picking up at all at the moment. Okay, what we'll do, Sarah, is I'll get someone else to go over what you've done, if that's okay with you, yeah?
I just noticed how noticeable this is literally just this very massive.
Okay, cool.
Well, okay, so this is
So obviously you can see Sarah's done a HP document and GDD document.
Just, is Sarah written the whole HP, or has there anybody else been involved with that?
It was me and Sarah that did the HP.
Okay, can you, what I want you to do is pitch that HP to me right
Yeah.
now, okay?
Yeah.
So,
You're selling the game, okay, so...
so the HP. So our game is a educational based game that's based in the Cusuco National Park in Honduras. The aim, what we plan to use with the game is we use it to teach anybody who might want to visit there to do like science projects or anything, to teach them how about all the animal species that are in there. So there's some of the mechanics in the game include we're going to have like a scoreboard which will have like a point system on it, it's like a sort of an inventory journal type thing where when any animal species collected, like the frogs, they will be picked up and added to a player's journal. There'll be also some interfaces like a HUD interface, which will have like the time, the score, and also this game will also be set in
like multiple different times of day. So we might have like a day level or a night level or any type of time of day that the player may wish to. So what will motivate the player to play will be the fact that they'll have like I can't read that very well on the board. That's the only problem. So the player will
Which one?
the HB. I can't really read that very well on the board.
Which section?
Player motivation.
Yeah, it's a bit hard to see from here.
Yeah.
Just move on.
Yeah, so the genre of this game is mainly it's a puzzle, sort of like a puzzle educational simulation, sort of like combined, crossed together. And the main target customer for this would be people like students or scientists who are going over to the park. So there's not really any. We discovered that very quickly there isn't really any competition for something like this because nothing really like this has been made before. So and some of its unique selling points include that it's a frog collecting game, and it was also it educates people about the frogs and any of the other animal species in the park. The main sort of hardware that we plan to put it on will be like desktop computers.
Design goals.
And the sort of design goals that it's going to be like intuitive, so it'll have like very simple mechanics. So the game's going to be easy to teach people. It's also going to be very informative, so every sort of section will have details about each of the frogs. It's also going to be immersive, so it'll have a very sort of like engaging and realistic environment to the place in real life. It's also going to be entertain. So it's going to be basically a game that's going to be entertaining for anybody of any skill level. It's sort of going to be sort of very sort of like open, and it's also going to be very sort of open world.
Okay. Just skim through the GDD, just don't worry about that. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, so the mind map's been done, showing the assets, target audience, goals, sound, mechanics, genre, and motivation.
Let's move on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Got some nice concepts there. They're looking good.
She's been working on the UI.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty nice actually.
So she's been working on the UI, and then obviously she's done the concepts of like the menu.
Yeah, she shows you've got it in context with the game. That's really nice. It's quite. I like the idea of the signpost. That's good.
Fits like the theme and stuff like that. Yeah, and like the counter, the frog counter, it's obviously like on a leaf as well,
Okay.
which is good. And obviously the time tracker is like day and night.
Okay. All right. Move on. Okay. Good.
So she's been doing some 3D modelling, first aid box and roll mats. That
Cool.
hasn't had the texture on yet.
Okay. Yeah. Let's move on again. Okay. Okay.
And there's the code.
Okay. Yeah. Crack on. We can't really go through that without knowing it. So, yeah, okay. Kelly. So she's finally working on the interface as well. Yeah.
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 Okay. Yeah. Move on. Yeah.
So it's just,
Okay. Adam.
it's just mainly. Well, that one hasn't updated properly because I've just literally. This one hasn't actually updated
Do you want
properly.
me to refresh it?
You might need to refresh it because I've just literally put a model that
Okay.
I've just done on the top of
Okay.
there, so it's up there now. So obviously for sites, obviously I've already gone through the HP, so I don't need to go
Yeah,
through
yeah.
it again. I've also wrote a quick proposal for this project, just basically proposing the idea to the client and whatever and what we want to do. And the mood board I worked on, which was basically looking at all these sort of animal species that could be found in the park, so like all the different frogs, different salamanders, snakes. Now, and then just basically what I did with this is I looked at the resources that were given to me originally with all the different species on them, and then I just got loads of pictures of those particular sort of species of animals, so it makes so the mood board's like all correct. And this here I've just done that needs to be unwrapped and textured first of all, which is just a ladder that I've worked on. And I'm also going to be working on once that's all unwrapped and textured, a few tables here and there. So
Okay, good. Okay, crack on. Ben?
hello.
Ben, you sit, crack on a minute, I need to sort this out, mate. Yeah, carry on, Ben.
Yeah, I did a couple of mood boards. Those are the environmental ones. This is just my section of the GDD. I just talked about like similar type games that could be used as inspiration to help us with like menuing and such. I used like Planet Zoo and like New Book on Snap as like type of games that help present like informative information on like animal species and such. I did a 3D model. Lighting's not great, but this is supposed to be like a book, and this is I'm currently unwrapping this, but this is supposed to be like a log bench. Yeah, that's what I've done so far.
Okay.
I've done some coding for this. I've added a pickup system. So you press E to pick up, and it can be used for frogs, anything like that. I've made a first-person torch, and you turn it on and off with F. I've added various things to the GDD, and I modelled the torch in 3ds Max. And then I've drawn some creature concepts and model sheets for frogs.
Well, looking nice. Excellent. Oh, great.
Stephen?
Oh no, the video.
Not on.
Another video can't be loaded.
Well, I had video game footage, and video cannot be loaded. Basically, there was a
Just
problem.
display it through the drive rather than from PowerPoint, it'll work like that.
Oh, okay, yeah, I can. I don't think it's up there anymore, and we'll see. Give me a sec. I'll upload it. Should be uploading now, so.
It's up there.
Yeah, so the video, which will be shown later, then I basically was working on the old game, so they, a group before us, started it, but they didn't really do, they kind of like rushed it, because I'm sure they didn't have enough time. So most of the collisions were like simple to complex.
Mhm.
So, but we didn't need any of the simple complex thing because we could have just used boxes because it would be the exact same. So I mostly fixed some of that just so that the game could run smoother because more collisions mean, more processing. And then the other thing is this is the kind of updated map. It was a lot bigger. This was like a quarter of it, and this is now the map, which is how it should have been. And then it would be really difficult to see, but then this area didn't exist, so I've updated it, and I've actually updated it again, where you can now go all the way like around to this bit. So you've got two pathways now. You've got one that can go about this way, and then another that goes down this way. And the only thing I haven't done yet was the river, so I'll be adding that in there, and I'm pretty sure that's it for me.
Okay. Okay, can we see any footage? Can you
Yeah, it should be on OneDrive. If you go back, it should be in game, and there will be video there. Yeah. I'm just gonna sit down. I'm not even know this. Oh yeah, I'm there.
That's looking a lot better, that's good. Great.
It's like 3 minutes of just walking.
That's fine, that's fine, I get the
The
gist.
only issue we've got is where it says preview on the floor.
Yeah.
Oh right, yeah, that as well, lighting issues. So I've got to fix that as well.
Alright, is that everybody?
No.
Oh, you're Ben, yeah, okay, go on, do your bit.
We gotta get the Benjamin here.
Benji.
Benji.
So here we've got my mood board that I've created for like a campsite and all that. These images were supplied to us by the client, showing off kind of what their site kind of setup is, so that we could take inspiration from that and model it in the game. Then this is the first section of my GDD, which is about the objective of our game. Since like that was a bit unclear, I went with both objectives of gameplay and the objectives of the game itself, as in what effect we wanted to have like in real life, which would be like for deforestation, what kind of animals can be found there, you know, how they can be handled, all that. Because then I'm working on a second section of the GDD now, which is about the tutorial level and what you would expect to be in there. Okay. And then these are the models I've created. These three here are cardboard boxes that aren't textured yet, because I'll need to make a like custom thing for them and work on that. Then I've got a bucket, some binoculars, and a crate here, which are all just I've just added a quick texture to them to make them look nice, which I'll work on and unwrap to make them look much nicer. So I've got.
Hey, cool, okay. Alright, so that's everybody, yeah?
That is everybody.
Okay, right, okay, a few things. First of all, make sure when you pitch it next time, right at the start, you say what you're actually doing. So we're making this game for blah, 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 we're doing it for this reason, this is what we're getting out of it, right at the beginning. Okay, alright, okay, alright, okay. That's alright, that's alright, that's what you're here for. Okay, so make sure, you know, when you're pitching it, you actually pitch it. So Adam's bit should be right at the beginning, really. Alright, okay.
Yeah,
alright,
really
okay.
short. Might
Alright.
a bit about like the HP.
Yeah,
and that.
okay, alright. So when you're pitching it, sell it to me. I'm the client, sell it to me, basically, okay? Then go into breaking down of the sections, basically, alright? Content's brilliant. Just make sure you sort of do it in the right order, basically. Okay, alright? Also, we're a little bit behind on modelling wise, that's fair enough, we can catch up on that, that's not a problem, basically. That's not
Yeah.
what everyone's done so far has been fine.
Yeah.
Okay, alright, you know, so everyone gets what they're doing, and I think that so far you're doing a really good job. I think when Becky and Sarah sit down and Kate all sit down together and use the same version, I think we'll get that coded in quite straightforward, I reckon. Okay, alright. Okay, mood board's great. Concepts, you need to start knocking them out a hell of a lot more faster, Cameron. Okay, a lot faster, okay? And what you should be doing, you know, is not just sort of making it up, if you like. Think about, you know, the level designers and the modelers, they need to have an idea of what things are going to look like. So if I were you, I would concentrate on what does the actual camp actually look like. Okay, what could you put in that camp to make it look really cool? Alright, so you might want to do various views of the campsite.
I was thinking of like doing a model for a tent.
Yeah, what I'm saying is though, a tent's fine, but everyone knows what a tent looks like. Alright, this Cameron instead? Okay, so what does the actual camp look like? Where are the seats? Where's the cooker? Where's the microscope? All that stuff. Okay, alright? They need to know that to put it actually in the level.
We need character in our
Yeah, so visualise what does that camp actually look like if you're actually in it. That's what we need to see basically. Okay? Alright? The actual outside of it, the environment, that's not a problem. I would say the camp's the main thing we need to have a look at, okay? Alright? Okay? Characters, really cool, Emily. What I would say as well is, as part of your research, have a look at metahumans. Okay, alright. I haven't found anywhere yet that that a way of bringing metahumans into 3D Max. Alright, so if you can find that, that would be a big plus. Okay? Because I've been looking into it myself. The only way I can do it is either via Maya or Blender at the moment. Alright, so if you want to try and do that,
I can have a look.
have a look, okay? Because it'd be really nice if you can get one of the characters as good as they are into Max or whatever, and then put our own outfits on it, and then put it back into Unreal. That'd be really nice.
I can have a
And
look.
it'll save you a lot of hassle. It'd be good, even if you don't use it, it'll be great for your research anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, alright. Okay. And again, it's everybody should. The HP make sure you know it. Okay, don't keep looking at the board.
I could hardly.
Yeah. What I'm saying is, you should know it. Everybody should know what the game's about, basically. So I should be able to call anybody in the room and say, right, what's it about? All right.
What's the game about? Tell me about it.
Okay. All right. So make sure you also know what the USPs are. You know who the audience are. What's the whole point of the game? Okay. Blah blah blah. Basically. Okay. All right. Other than that, pretty good. All right. Okay. Yeah. All right. So obviously I'll put you on the spot a little bit today with me being back, so you won't expect it. All right. Okay.
It's fine, Steve.
Well, content-wise, you're on the track now. I'd say.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right. Cool.